I believe in investing in people.
Okay.
That's one thing that has cut across for me.
Alright.
Synergy and just investing in people to be able to bring out something that is much greater than you would have been able to do on your own. The only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude, right? Because somebody may be faced with something that is very, very catastrophic, right? But the mindset, the outlook, okay, Charlie, this has happened, right? What have I learned from this? These are constructive ways of thinking. What have I learned from this? Charlie, this is really bad. This is very embarrassing. But what can I do? When you change how you view the whole situation, it even opens you up to more other opportunities. Through my music, I like to speak on mental health topics. Like being down, because I feel like the topic of mental health is so broad, right? And people may be facing mental health illnesses, right?
Yeah.
And that's separate.
Yeah.
But everybody, under the umbrella of mental health, everybody goes through mental health issues every now and then.
Charlie, bro, welcome to the ABC show.
Thank you so much, my brother.
All right. I remember we met in 2021, and for me, it was through food, and for you, it was music that brought us. So food and music brought us together.
Exactly.
And now you had a new single out then that you were promoting.
Yes.
Yeah, you came to perform at the restaurant. And I've also seen you since then. You've done food, you still do music, and a few other things here and there.
Yeah.
Since I love food, probably let's start from the food section where,
Sure.
yes, and then your life as a chef. So I've seen you running your own joints where you do different kinds of meals, and I would want you to touch on that, your journey becoming a chef. Usually I tell my guests that to get to understand anybody and what they do, we need to know how they grew up, what influenced their decision to do what they do. So what brought you into the food space, and how did your growing up influence that?
So coming into the food space, thank you so much first and foremost for the opportunity to be on your show.
All right.
I love what you're doing here.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go right into it. The food space, right? It was not really planned for me to go into the food space, being a chef and everything. It happened as a result of me being out of school for some time while I was in Canada. And then I had my first job in fast food. So I did the fast food for some time, then moved to pub food.
Okay.
Then after pub, I went to fine dining, working in all these restaurants. But the background of it, back then, my father, a very well-traveled man, he always brings different things, like whenever he comes, spices, herbs. Even sometimes when he goes to even work and he's coming back, he buys Lebanese bread, so many things that he brings home for himself that he can use to make his meals that he enjoys when he travels.
Okay.
So anytime he brings those ingredients home, then I also come, put it together, do something for my friend. When my friends come over after school, then I put something together for my friends, and then we all enjoy.
Okay.
And they give me feedback and everything. So that was the background. And also in school, I did catering for a little bit.
Okay.
So I had a little bit of background and a little bit of love for food. Most of the time, also being in the kitchen with my mother. I was my mom's only son.
Okay.
So mostly when the girls are there, I go and join them in the kitchen too. That was the background of it. But it wasn't really planned for me to become a chef. It just was, I'll say fate, It just happened the way it happened. And we've been in it since 2014.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 2014 to now, that's like a decade.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So I have run a restaurant business in Ghana, and I know that it's tough.
Yeah.
What you do is on another level. So you do more of a fine dining. I know you do a bit of a combo of different stuff.
Yeah.
How has that been in Ghana here? How has the patronage been, and are people buying into that? How has it been so far?
Support has been actually great.
That's great.
In the grand scheme of things. I mean, from family, friends, people who also find out about what you're doing online. Mostly what I do is online based because I don't have a space.
Okay.
Yeah, yet. I don't have a space yet, so I do mostly online. And Yeah, people have been buying into the idea of gourmet food. What I do is gourmet food.
Okay.
It's not all the way fine dining. It's like a blend between, because fine dining, the plating of fine dining, the portion size is way smaller than
that's not something Ghanaians will want to do.
Yeah. It's not really something, but gourmet food is just in the middle there. You know, portion sizes are great. Ingredients, it focuses on ingredients in season, and also being able to create something out of whatever you have around you. So I've been doing that, the gourmet food, and my main market, or the people that really patronize, are the diasporans, most of them who are coming down into the country. And what I've been doing lately, they have been requesting for local dishes. So I do offer cooking classes, and to teach them the local cuisine as well. All right. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So I mean, you've done some work in Canada.
Yeah.
You provided meals, especially for the diasporan market. What Ghanaian dish stands out for you when it comes to cooking?
Yeah, I think for me, my favorite Ghanaian dish that I can, if there was just one Ghanaian dish that you could eat for the rest, they said this is the only dish, pick one
for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life. For me, it will be yam and contomere stew.
Wow.
Because I love yam and contomere so much. It's just it's soul food for me. Like when I don't know how to explain it, but it just gives me a good comforting feeling when I eat it. Yam and contomere stew, so that's my dish.
I grew up loving yam. Maybe not loving yam, but because yam was mostly available. So my dad did a bit of farming on the side, and we almost had yam. Depending on the season, you either had water yam, which is not common these days. So in the lean season, when there's no pona and all that, you have water yam. And I grew up on yam, either with pepper or whatever. So for me, in whatever form yam comes, that makes it for me. But when I also moved into the restaurant food, I realized that a lot of people love yam.
Yeah.
And when you travel, the moment you say you're traveling, people are looking if you can bring them a tuber of yam or And so once they come down, I understand how that works for you, having stayed out for a while.
Yeah.
Now, you're in this space where I say it's expensive to run a restaurant in Ghana.
Very.
What has been the most challenging bit for you in the line of work that you do as a chef?
I think that, and I want to touch on the what you just said about it being expensive to run a restaurant. When I was in Canada, I got close to most of my bosses, and when they opened the books and they showed me what was going on in the restaurants, I realized that most of them were in the red, which means that they were not making profit for a very long time. And it made me realize that running a restaurant is not as glamorous as I thought it was. Yeah. Because when they didn't show me the books, I didn't think that it was. I thought everything was going smoothly. I mean, we're getting paid, everything was fine, But when I got closer and they said, "Hey, this is it," and I said, "Wow." Yeah. Because whether or not people don't know this, but whether or not you are making sales, you have to pay your staff. You have to pay rent, you have to pay utilities, whatever maintenance costs, whatever it is that happens, you are paying whether or not you are making sales.
That's true.
So that means that you need to have a pool that you are using to fund whatever the restaurant. That's the reality of it. You need to have another source of income that you're using to fund it, because in case of any things that happen, you should be able to keep it afloat. Yeah. So for me, I'll say, me not having a restaurant right now, I don't really have those problems. Okay. But I'll say, because of the economy right now, people are not really purchasing as much. And the truth is, the local food scene, like the chop bars, the street vendors are the ones winning. Yeah, that's true. They are the ones winning. That's true. So that's true. That's what it is. Things are a little bit slow right now. I do offer cooking classes as well for people who are coming into the country. And I'm also started something more in terms of food touring. Okay. Where we take people to the source of where things, like let's say if they taste palm wine, they want to know how palm wine is made, the whole process behind palm wine.
Okay.
We take them on a food tour. We take them to Ebri, where the palm,
you tap the wine,
we take them through the whole process. When they want to know how these local beverages like Burkina, some of the local dishes, taking them to Jamestown, seeing the culture, the fish culture over there.
Okay.
So I do that as well. It's something that I've also started, food touring.
Okay.
So that's one thing that is also going right now, So just trying to adjust and, see the best way we can keep moving regardless,
That's the mantra of every entrepreneur.
Exactly. You have to be stoic. You have to be stoic.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
And I like the fact when you said it is street food and the chobas that are making the money.
Yeah.
And I was just saying that I'm so wondering why I ended up finding myself in a space where I'm doing a restaurant and running a lounge when my mother was running a chop bar. And after doing this for like 5 years, I sit down and I tell myself that I won't give up on the food sector or in the food industry, but I'm no longer going to run a restaurant. Yeah, I mean, anybody else I could help anybody do that, but for me, it has to be the local joint. Yeah. That is where the money is.
That's where the money is.
Yes, less stressful. Now we've talked about food, where the two of us have something in common. Music, I love music.
I know you,
but
I
don't sing.
I think everybody can sing. It's just that some are better than others.
Okay.
Because if we were all to be here together and we were singing the national anthem,
everybody will sing
in unison. Yeah, everybody will be able to sing.
That's true.
We are all singers.
Yeah.
It's just that there's just levels. People can sing better than others,
that's true.
People have the higher range. But we are all singers at the end of the day, because there may be a song that you will struggle to sing, but there'll be another song that you can sing comfortably.
All right.
In maybe a bass line voice, or tenor, but everybody has a song
level where they are good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In our bathrooms, we are all good.
Thank you. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Charlie, I know I met you through music.
Yeah.
But how does this music journey start for you?
So for music, right, I'll take it back. My mom said she's not surprised I'm doing music, right? Because she's like, when I was young, when they pick me up from school, before I get home, I've sung myself to sleep. Like when I was young, I always sing myself to sleep. So she didn't have to worry about singing me. No. I do that myself. I sing. So she said she's not surprised I'm doing music right now because she has really been able to watch the whole process, the journey from my childhood all the way to right now, So, but my father also played a very big part in my music journey because he exposed me to a whole lot of genres of music during weekends. We just blast music when we are doing we used to do I don't know if families still do that, but they used to do something like general cleaning. Yeah. Mostly on Saturdays,
Saturdays, once a month. We clean general cleaning. You are the one cleaning the hall. You are the one cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah, so we used to do general cleaning. And when we are doing general cleaning, he plays music, Jimmy Cliff, B.B. King, Salif Keita, Usibisa, all kinds of music, world music, different kinds of world music, Richard Bona.
Wow.
So we were all exposed to so much music. Me especially, I soaked that in.
Okay.
And the very first time when I was in junior high, whenever there's something happens in school, I'll make a song about it. I'll drum on the table and make a song about it. And everybody, since it's a small school, everyone will
be around, give them morale,
and it becomes a song that everyone knows.
Okay.
So that's how I realized, but I didn't really see that something I could pursue or do seriously. But then my father saw that in me, and in 2008, 2009, my father took me to a studio and I recorded a bunch of songs, like a compilation, a couple of songs, and that's where it started.
That's great. you write your own music, and I remember when we met, you had a single that was out that you did a mini event in a lounge. Yeah. How is your creative process? What influences your lyrics? The themes that you choose to write about?
Most of the time, for me, my lyric writing process is mostly experience based, like things that I've experienced. If it's myself, or maybe a story someone has told me, or somebody that is close to me that I know dearly, like all those, I soak that in, and I use that to, it inspires me to write.
Okay.
So most of the things that I write about and I sing about are things that I've experienced myself. With my sound is mostly like geared more towards the inspirational sound, which I got from Jimmy Cliff and Osibisa as well. And with that, people think that my music is like, it's encouraging music, and sometimes people think, I went to an interview one time, and it was a Canadian interview, and then they said when they listen to my music, they think that everything is rosy in my life. But the truth is that the reason why I'm able to write all this encouraging music is that I myself have gone through certain things that my own music has spoken to me.
Okay.
So I know it might be a little bit selfish to say this, but I don't do music for everybody. I do it for myself. At the end of the day, I do it for myself when I'm in those down moments where, Charlie, I want to listen to something that is going to uplift me. And when I listen, something about listening to my own voice telling me, hey, everything is going to be better, I believe in you, it lifts me up. So like that's my music is experience based, it's based on things that I have been through, or like things that I have been exposed to.
And I can relate when you say when you're down, you want to listen to your own kind, because for me, almost every state of mind determines the kind of music that you want to listen to. So you wake up on a Sunday, and it's like a miracle. You're going to go to a gospel music because it's Sunday. I mean, the mind is just because you are down, you're going to look for a music that is going to make you, uplift you. And when you're happy, music that gives you that happy feel. So for me, I get where you're coming from.
Exactly.
But with all the works you've done so far, what would you say has been your favorite? I mean, looking at everything you've done, and then what story actually inspired that music that you say, okay, amongst maybe 10 or 15 songs that I have, this one stands out?
I'll say Conversations, because that song is a tribute to my mother. Because when I went through a bit of depression when I was in Canada, my mom was on the phone with me, like praying with me, encouraging me all the way from Ghana. And when I finally was able to come out of that deep depression, I was inspired to write that song titled Conversations. And that song actually won me a songwriting award. It's a very short song. It's like a poem in a song, Okay. And that song won me a songwriting award, and it's dear to my heart because even with the music video, my mom is in there, like, like her images are in there. And I made it in such a way that it's going to be something that I'll always remember.
Okay.
If my mom is no longer here, if I do have kids, my kids are going to be able to see the image and see their grandmother and everything that she stood for and what she did for me in that whole video and in that music, Even in the song, her voice is in there. So I think it's my best song,
I like the story.
Yeah.
When we were having a conversation about this podcast, you mentioned mental health, and I told you about my story where, I mean, when I moved from the restaurant, when I moved everything from my drink out to the house, I wake up in the morning and I had everything that I brought back from the restaurant in my space, from plants to everything in my space. And those ones I actually broke down in the bathroom. It's a bathroom, you're usually there alone. There was nobody there. And I actually broke down, and you wouldn't even know who to talk to. And when you spoke about mental health, I just look at myself going through that state, within that period and seeing what I had to deal with. and just saying, I mean, I wish there was this space I could walk into, have a conversation, and then just come back. So I think that I like that you're advocating for that. You're doing it through different ways. And last month was mental health week. Month
for men.
For men.
Yeah.
And we are encouraging all men to speak up, cry if you can.
Yes.
Yeah, cry if you need to.
Yeah, if you need to.
Yeah, cry if you need to. But just to understand what you've been doing lately about mental health advocacy, what are you doing through music, poetry, what are you doing about that?
So through my music, I like to speak on mental health topics, like being down, because I feel like the topic of mental health is so broad, right? And people may be facing mental health illnesses, right?
Yeah.
And that's separate.
Yeah.
But everybody, under the umbrella of mental health, everybody goes through mental health issues every now and then, because if somebody has gone through, let's say, a breakup, and they are going through a very deep depression, they may not have a mental health illness, but they are going through a mental health challenge at that point because they are depressed, they are down, they may have suicidal ideations, so it affects us all in different ways. And sometimes people see other people going through, let's say, a mental health challenge that is public, that everybody can see that, this person is clearly not themselves, and think that is far away from them. But it can happen to anyone. And we all are affected by it in various ways.
That's true.
Through my music, I try to speak on topics that surround mental health. And I also, every chance I get, I like to talk about these topics with people. And I know it's taken me a very long time to get to this point where I'm very vulnerable, talking about mental health in my music, in my day-to-day activities, like speaking about it and advocating for it, especially for us as men. Sometimes when you are vulnerable, it's seen as you being weak. But, at the same time, you have situations where people are expecting you to be vulnerable. Hey, man, like, speak about it, open up.
Yeah.
But when you do speak about it, then you are also seen in a different light.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to also use my little voice and platform that I have to speak about being vulnerable. It's okay to say, hey, like, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Because
I have really, really struggled with my mental health. Since 2017, I have struggled. I have really, really struggled. Yeah, it's been a uphill battle. But one thing about me is that one thing that I do admire about myself is my strength and my resilience. That whatever happens, whatever brings me down, whatever, I still keep rising. I keep rising, and I'm thankful to have a great support system around me that enables me to be able to stand on my feet once again. Because when you have friends and family who love and support you, and they are there for you, and they understand your struggles, and they make you feel that, hey, it's okay if you're going through this right now. It's okay if you don't have it figured out. We are here with you, and it makes it easier, because at the end of the day, no man is an island, right?
That's true.
You need people around you. You need people to remind you. Sometimes you know who you are, but you also need some people to remind you, like, Charlie, you are that guy. You are that, you are the one that we know who has been strong all these years. Keep fighting, keep pushing. So mental health is something that I'm really passionate about because it affects me personally. I think that I will continue to use my voice and my platform to speak about mental health generally, and also as men. Being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness.
That's so true. I talk about myself because the space I had in Adrengan also, so to have that investment go down, I thought it was okay. I knew I could move on, do something else. Yes, I'm doing something else, but it took every time I woke up and saw the items there at home, it was
feeling it.
You feel it within you that Fortunately for me, my daughter was born around the same time, so there was. You look at her and there's a lot of hope to live for. There's that joy that comes in, but once in a while, especially when it's raining, and you see the things out there being beaten by the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, it was a different vibe.
Yeah,
But I think I spoke to, just like you mentioned, a few people around, family around. You can move on, make it, try something else.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've moved on and we are doing something else. So I think that space where we are able to open up to each other, especially as men, especially as men, yes, that's it. I mean, for us boys, but you can sit, open up and talk, but there's a level to which people want to open up when you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's where we're encouraging that. I think if you have anything going through, there should be that space where you trust that you can go into, have a conversation, come back and not feel that you've belittled yourself or you've been seen as a weaker version of the man you've always been. Yeah. So I think that I share in your experience. Yeah. But having dealt with all this and all the work that you do with your music, what advice would you give to anybody who is going through anything now, any form of depression, any form of mental health challenge? What advice would you, is music enough? What should they look at?
Music is not enough sometimes, but I feel that it all boils down to you speaking up and you also accepting the fact that, because being in denial about whatever situation you are in prolongs the process, the whole process of healing and, but acceptance, saying, hey, I'm going through this, I'm struggling with this, I need help.
Okay.
It makes everything easier for you in the long run, because at the end of the day, you are able to get the right help that you need.
Yeah.
You are able to address certain issues that may be causing you to go through certain things, or you are able to tackle it head on, because there are people who are there who are trained to help you.
Okay.
I advocate for therapy as well. I advocate for seeing the psychiatrist, seeing a doctor, whatever it is that you need to do. There are people who are trained to do that. So self-medicating is not always, it's not the best idea.
Right.
So seeking help, voicing out, and it all comes back to we as a people, as a collective, making it conducive for people to be able to feel comfortable to voice out in the first place.
That's true.
But it starts from voicing out, voicing out and saying, Charlie, I'm struggling. I have not been able to sleep for this number of days because I'm overthinking, I'm voicing out, then we can find help for you. I think that's the first step is actually accepting it and then voicing out about it. Yeah.
Right. I like the fact where you mentioned that. I mean, you need to own the problem.
Yeah.
You also need to seek external help if you need to. Meet a professional, a psychiatrist, a doctor, or any space that is good enough for you to go into based on what you're experiencing. Mm-hmm. I like that bit. So, music is part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Being a chef is part of the entrepreneurial journey. And you also mentioned that you're doing a few things with your old man here and there. How is all this coming about? I mean, one month, how are you doing all this?
1 month, I think that, and I think naturally I've been able to know how to multitask, and the fact that these are things that it's not like I'm forcing myself to do these things. These are things that I genuinely love. I love music. I love food.
Okay.
And, I love, helping out with my old man, working with him as well. So doing all of that is not a chore.
Okay.
It's something that I do indeed enjoy. It's like a passion that I enjoy. So it doesn't feel so strenuous for me,
Okay.
It doesn't feel so strenuous for me. So I'm able to do all these things, because I do enjoy them, and thankfully they are not all happening at the same time, because then it means I'll have to divide myself into different, which is not possible.
Yeah.
There's periods and seasons. Like, I have seasons where I'm in the studio recording. There's seasons where I'm
doing the whole gourmet dish and all
gourmet
that.
dishes, doing that, the food touring and stuff like that. And then there's times when I'm working with my old man as well.
Right.
So just balancing all of that as well, and it's easy because, like I said, I'm able to compartmentalized. Like I'm doing this at this time, focusing on this at this time, focusing on that, and they don't demand my attention all at the same time. At the same time, yeah. So yeah.
All right. I mean, whilst you explain that, I see that proper planning, having a structure in place helps you to be able to do multiple stuff, even as an individual.
Yeah.
But what do you say is one lesson you've learned across this journey, being a chef, having worked in Canada, having run a business in Ghana, working with your old man, doing the musical journey and everything? What lesson runs through all these things?
For me, one thing that I live by is synergy.
Okay.
And synergy is the combined effect of working with various people to come up with like a product or something that is much greater than you would have done on your own. And throughout my life, be it school, be it work, be it music, leisure, whatever it is, synergy has been my go-to. Because I believe in working together with people to be able to bring out something greater than I would have done by myself. Okay. All the music I've done, I've worked with people who are also equally very good or even better than me.
Okay.
And we've been able to create something beautiful. With the food space, working with other people has been able to, because even with the events, I have people that I do the event planning with.
Okay.
The people that help me in the kitchen. So we do all of these things together. So what I would say that cuts across for all these areas, food, music, everything else, is synergy.
Okay.
Working with people who are like-minded, working with people who believe in your dream. And so I believe in investing in people.
Okay.
Like, that's one thing that has cut across for me.
Right.
Synergy and just investing in people to be able to bring out something that is much greater than you would have been able to do on your own.
I also believe that for me, if I'm leading anything as a CEO, as a manager, as whatever, the biggest decision that I need to make is making sure that I have the right team. Mm-hmm. And that falls in line with synergy. I mean, if I have the right team in place, you have the good plan in place, you're sure that the team can easily run with that, take the mission and do it better than you. Mm-hmm. And in fact, like you mentioned, you work with other musicians who probably are as good as you are or better than you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're running your own business or doing anything, sometimes it's even better to have people who know even better than you do.
Exactly.
I mean, you have the vision, but you need someone who understands it even better than you to get it running. So for me, I seem to, maybe I like food, you like food, so we seem to agree on, on a lot of things here, but that really works for me.
Yeah.
I also want to touch on religion a bit because I know you have a diverse view, I mean, a different ideology about religion and all that. And also, I say that because I'm a preacher's kid, I also have my own understanding and views about religion. I don't always agree with my dad. I don't argue with him over the Bible, but there are things that I don't, sometimes we don't agree. Yeah. Even though we all believe that it should be, Yeah. What are your views? How do you see religion from where you sit?
From where I sit, growing up, I grew up in a home where my mother was Christian. We used to go to the Assemblies of God Church on Sundays, and my father was a syncretic person. A syncretic person is somebody who believes that all paths lead to God, right? Okay. So at that time, my father was following the Hare Krishna and the Radha Swami, which is a Hindu sect, a Hindu religion. So we used to go to the Hindu temple, the Radha Swami temple, on Saturdays as a family, and we were vegetarian because the sect did not. The diet that was encouraged was a vegetarian diet. So that was the lifestyle that we lived. So I had let me say two worlds. I was in two worlds. One with my father, and then one with my mother. So Saturday we go to the temple. We sit down on the mats. We listen to the teacher speak about teachings of light, and and then on Sunday I go to church with my mother. We hear about Christ and everything. But growing up, it didn't really confuse me. Some people ask me whether it confused me. It didn't really confuse me. It just exposed me, opened up my mind even more, and I became Christian in 2012. Officially became Christian. Gave my life in 2012. I became a Christian. But however, I still do have certain questions that have not really been answered yet.
Okay.
But the thing about right now is that I am not bothering myself about trying to find the answers, because I've realized that there's some things that we might not fully understand in this our lifetime. Like one thing, like I don't understand how a loving God has created all these people of different races, different religions, creeds, and at the end of the day, all these people, whether righteous or not, are going to hell just because they don't.
They chose a way.
They are not following Christ. Whereas even we as Christians, Charlie, because even it says in the Bible that your righteousness is like a filthy rag unto God. So even on your holiest day, the day you feel your most holiest before God, you are not even worthy, right? And I ask myself that all these people who may be living a righteous life and have a clean heart and all of that, and they are going to hell, they are damned to hell because they don't believe in Christ. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. It's really hard for me to digest because going to Canada, that's a very it's a cultural melting pot.
Okay.
There's so many religions and faiths and people from all across the world. And I've worked with so many people, gotten to know these people for myself on a personal level and seeing their hearts and asking myself, so these people are going to. Charlie, it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to take it in.
Okay.
So it's one thing that I have not yet accepted. Maybe I'll meet somebody who will be able to fully explain it, but I haven't met anybody who has been able to explain it to me that
is a loving God that will make some go to hell, some go to heaven because of the way they chose to worship Him. Because
there are people in the Amazon forest. There are even some tribes that are not even exposed to civilization as we know it right now. Yeah. They are still in the way things were done from their forefathers. They haven't been exposed, and they don't want to be exposed. Yeah. They want to live there. Some of them, even when you get close, they might even kill you because they don't want to be exposed to their outside. Yeah. So they are living their own life, their own system, and all these people. It's quite mind-boggling for me. So
I think, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? So there's a lady who is opening a lounge, and we are happy to support her with the food. So she interviewed some, I think 3 chefs. So they did, usually the way you interview chefs, you get them to cook. So there was a meal tasting event in the evening, and after, so I ate very late. I've been trying to lose some pounds. So after eating late, I decided to take a walk with some of my friends who usually come around here. Yeah. So we went to the field around 10:30. There were people praying on the field. Yeah. So I asked them, I work in the NGO space, and there are people who bring their money together for us to use to do the work that we do for humanity. Yeah. And some of these people are atheists, they don't believe in God. But they're bringing their money down here for us to use to do work that is touching people who believe in this God, or people who believe in God. So I asked them, what do you think? The man who doesn't believe in God, who is bringing money for us to help the people who are here praying for whatever they are praying for, and the people who are praying to God, who should be rewarded? Who is going to make it to heaven? It became a conversation. I mean, we didn't get to a concluding point, but then we realized that if we want to make things practical, it becomes different. If you make it spiritual, then it changes the dynamics. So I was telling them that for me, I'm a Christian. I don't deny that. Yes. I won't go worship in any other, not because I don't like it, but just because it's what I've grown up being. I've grown up being a Christian. I've grown up in a Christian home, and I'm okay being that. But at this point of my life, I think that I want to be a good human to whoever is human, to mankind. I want to be a good human being to mankind. Exactly. And I also want to do good just as I want people to do good by me. Yeah. So I think that for me, it's more of spirituality and you saying that you want to do good. Yeah. And the do good means that you want to do unto others just as you want them to do unto you. And not just base everything on the 10 Commandments or everything that is written in the Bible. And I think everybody and how they see. So I was telling you that me and my dad, he has his things that he believes in. Yeah. I also have my own views. So Christianity, I get the questions that you have.
Yeah.
I will not find answers for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that when you find them, you share it with me. So how has this really affected your life? I mean, do you live your life a certain way because of the questions you have?
No. I think, like I said, I've gotten to a point where I'm no longer searching for those answers. I think that there's a reason why everyone is on a path that they are on. And for me, being a Christian, being on this path is what works for me.
Okay.
You know. So the questions that I have, when I was much younger, I was searching, asking everybody I meet. I'm asking everybody who says they are a man of God. I say, okay, I have these questions for you. This, you know, and everybody has their own answers. Some will say it's only God knows. Some will say it will lead you to some scriptures. Some, you know, it's just confusing. So I got to the point where I said, you know what? When I started growing. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna be searching for those answers, right, anymore, because I've come to conclude that there are some things that I may never ever fully understand in this lifetime, and that's okay.
Right.
You know,
thing that I will go along with the fact that we probably don't need answers to every question that we have, but I also want to live a life that says be good to each other, be good to mankind, even to animals. Just be a good human being, like whatever religion you believe in. But for me as a Christian, I want to be good to mankind.
The golden rule.
Yes.
You know, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. That's what we should all live by, you know, and we are all not perfect. I'm not a perfect person.
No.
You know, at the end of the day, in some people's story, you may be the hero. In other people's story, you may be the villain.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, once you know that your relationship with your maker, right, is intact, and also where your heart is, because in the Bible it says God likes to deal with people with a broken and a contrite heart, right? So once you realize that, oh Charlie, I have wronged this my brother, you go to them, ask for forgiveness. If they don't forgive you, that's fine, but you have at least done the right thing, and you know that with God, you are right with God as well, you know.
Yeah.
But nobody's perfect, you know. We're all flawed.
That's true. Mm-hmm. How do you balance everything else that you do? So you're a chef, a musician, and through all this, you're an entrepreneur. You work with your dad, and
I also work with like in advertising a little bit. I do like ads as well sometimes, every now and then. Yeah, something I do in my leisure time as well. Yeah.
How do you balance all these then?
Do I even know? Do I even know? I just do it, you know. I just do it. And it goes back to the passion thing. Like, I actually do love what I'm doing. Like, I'm passionate and I love it. So it doesn't really feel like stressful, at least maybe on this level. Maybe when one of them really like becomes very intense, then maybe it may demand more of my attention. Yeah. But as at now, none of them are so intense where I have to like put everything aside and focus fully on one. So yeah.
All right. So what kind of legacy are you looking at leaving behind? I like it when you said when your grandchildren come, they see the video you did with your mom, and they're going to know how their great-great-grandmother was and what role she played in your life. What legacy do you want to live with everything else that you're doing? What legacy are you looking at leaving behind?
My legacy that I want to leave behind is very simple. That I was as human as anyone else. Right. That's the legacy I want to leave. I don't have any grandiose legacy I want to leave behind, because sometimes people look at me and then they think I live a perfect life, or everything in my life is perfect
for you. Yes. Yeah, you mentioned.
But I want everyone who encounters my story or my journey, or even me as a person, to realize that I'm as human as anyone else. And, you know, I go through the same struggles as we all go through and everything. But, you know, that's what it is. But at the end of the day, I want to be somebody that people know that my heart is genuine.
All right.
If I have wronged you, I will apologize.
All right.
If I have done something to hurt you, I will not hold back from letting you know that how sorry I am when you make me aware of the fact that you have been hurt.
Right.
So I want everybody to realize that Bubune Emmanuel Holali is as human as anyone. That's the legacy I want to leave behind. Right. I came and I lived, and
you're no more. But
I'm no more. But yeah.
I like that you want to live as human as everybody should be.
Yeah.
And the fact where you are more than willing to apologize when your attention is drawn to the fact that, and I'm sure that also means that when someone else offends you, it's so easy to also forgive because as you expect to be forgiven.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What would you say as your philosophy for life? I mean, with everything you've said, what is your philosophy for life?
My philosophy, I really follow the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, what's this other one? I really love this guy. I've forgotten his name, but Marcus Aurelius is one of them that stands out to me.
Okay.
But I think that one saying that I found online that I try to live by is that the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude, right? Because somebody may be faced with something that is very, very catastrophic, right? But the mindset, the outlook, okay, Charlie, this has happened, right? What have I learned from this?
Yeah.
These are constructive ways of thinking. What have I learned from this? Charlie, this is really bad. This is very embarrassing. But what can I do? When you change how you view the whole situation, it even opens you up to more other opportunities or even other channels, because this is not to say that you should not feel things.
The pain when you have to feel.
No, this is not to say that.
Yeah.
But your attitude, like they said when we were growing up in junior high school, they said your attitude determines your altitude.
Yeah.
Two people can go through the same thing, but one will bounce back and keep rising just only based on their attitude. They can go through the same thing. Maybe they lost their wife and kids, they lost their home, they lost the same thing, literally the very same thing.
Yeah.
A few years down the line, one person is probably on the streets and maybe the other person has been able to build up from that, has something better doing, and you ask yourself, what is the difference between these two people? And it's the attitude.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to live by, that, your attitude determines your altitude, and also the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. Yeah.
I think that is so true.
Yeah.
I know you have a music out, you have a single out. What is this music? What is this song about?
Yeah.
And what inspired you to put this together?
So this song is titled Waiting.
Okay.
And the whole song is just me talking about the fact that sometimes I overthink things and I wait for the perfect time to do certain things because I'm a perfectionist. And I always wait for the perfect time. Oh, this is not good enough. I'm always overthinking things. But the song is me just saying, I was waiting for the right time, but I realized that, Charlie, there's no right time. Just do it, And the irony of the song is that I didn't even want to put out that song. I didn't want to put out that song.
Okay.
So finally, when I put it out, the reception has been great. People are really resonating with the song, and I love it. I love that I heeded to my own advice in the song, and I decided to put out the song. So the song is out now on all streaming platforms, and it's doing well.
Okay.
I'll be performing live at the Amber Gallery in Kempinski on the 27th. So if you see this and you want to come see me perform live, come through.
Sure. Sally, bro, all too soon I'll say that it's been good having a conversation with you. We met in 2021.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years already.
Yeah.
But I look forward to us doing so many things together.
Definitely.
You're doing a lot in your own journey,
Yeah.
and us probably coming together again, see what we can do together. So
Definitely.
thanks for coming.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thank you
taking the
very much for
platform.
being there. All right. Thanks for having us. Bye.